morning, and welcome to the Navigating the Senior Years Caring for the Elderly seminar. Glad you're here. We're going to have a wonderful morning full of useful information and time together, and I know it's going to be valuable to all of you. I am Doc Feaster, the chair of the Learn Pillar of the church, who have been working to put this on. This is part of the vision, the idea initially of Pastor Bob and of the vision he has for our church, having an event for the church and the community to help educate. So it was his idea and vision from the very start, and we appreciate that now we're here today. So here is our senior pastor, Bob Martin.
Thanks, Doc. Hey, welcome and good morning, everybody. So glad that you're here. Listen, today is really important, and what Doc just said is really key. One of the pieces of our vision is to meet the unmet needs here in our community and beyond. And we're all here because we understand the importance of elder care. We live longer. Our parents, many of us still have parents who are living. I'm a lower-end baby boomer, still have a living mother. And so we're all here to collect data. We tried to get our kids to come. They told us we were too young. They weren't coming. But I'm glad you're here. Really, really, I am. Hey, listen, before we get this started, just very quickly, if you're looking for a church home, we would love to have you. Just check us out at stpetefirst.org online. Come any Sunday at 8, 9:30, or 11. Be our guest and be a part of a church that really is striving to be the heart of the city. Before I flip it back, I just want to give accolades to Dr. Lynn Feaster. He showered praise on me. No, it's really him. He's the guy who's really made this go with his team. So excited. He's the right leader and grateful that through his gifts and talents, all that was showered. So would you just show your appreciation to Doc Feaster? Amen. Okay. Well, I'm going to open us with a prayer, and we'll go from there. Let's just pray. We're thankful, God, for this time to gather and to be people who care for our elders. The scriptures say kavod is the Hebrew word, and it means weightiness, that we are to honor our parents and our loved ones with that kavod, the weightiness. And that weightiness is the burden that we're called to carry with honor, with hope, and also with love. So may today be a day that we're enlightened, that we learn something, meet someone who can be a contact to help, make a special friend who might be sitting near us, but most importantly, to find ways not only to draw closer to you, but to love those that we've been entrusted in care. We pray this in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor Bob. This project has been going on for almost a year. So I think of it like birthing a baby, and today is delivery. Just about to have the delivery, we're in labor. It's been a lot of work to get here, and I'd like to thank the folks that have worked on this, starting with the Learn Pillar, which is the pillar that put this on, and the folks around. Kaylee Bennett is out in the parking lot somewhere, but she is on the committee. Laura Ulrich is there, and Alicia Clements, all have been working on this with us, as well as Administrator Derek Weston has been key in helping with this. He's on security duty now and out and about, but all of them have worked hard to get us here. Kaylee, by the way, I found out there's a fun pillar. I found that out Wednesday. We have a fun pillar. And guess who's chair of the fun pillar? Kaylee Bennett. Yeah, that fits. She's out in the parking lot because of her useful voice. The seminar committee in particular has been helpful in working to get this done, and I want to thank them. Joan Schottler, she was there. Okay, Joan. Sandy Sowers, still at the desk, okay, and my bride, Caroline Feaster, have been on the seminar committee, and we've been working to get this baby to this point. And in particular, I want to thank Mary Ellen Gilbert. That has been a blessing. We stumbled upon her along the way, and her job is exactly what this seminar is looking to do. She is founder and CEO of Navacare, which helps people get through the process, which is the goal of this seminar today. And she has been wonderful. She has been a tireless worker. She's organized. She has helped so much. She's helped get the professionals here, and we appreciate them coming and being with us. And they're all around. You can see them, talk to them. But the professionals that have come that you're going to hear from them, she's helped get them together, and she's helped organize the whole thing and has been wonderful. And she is going to be your MC for the morning. So, Mary Ellen.
All right. Thank you, Doc. And you know what? I just really want to give a big round of applause for this church. They are truly the heart of the city, right? Let's give them a round of applause. And thank you, Doc. We have a lot in store for you guys today. The most important thing is that you're here. Thank you for being here. Thank you all vendors for showing up at dark 30 this morning to set up. We greatly appreciate you. My name is Mary Ellen. As Doc said, I own a company called Navacare. We help families navigate the golden years. You're going to hear more about what specifically we do, but one of the things that we do is help with vendor education, and that's something that's really important to us. So I want to give you a little bit of a background. Years ago, my mom retired, and when she retired, she was trying to figure out how she was going to spend her retirement days, right? Not long after that, her sister was diagnosed with cancer. So she began, and my mom lived in Maryland, and her sister lived in North Carolina. My mom would go down, travel back and forth to take care of her sister. Well, she did that, and then she actually moved in with them for a period of time for 9 months. So during that period of time, she actually began caring for her brother-in-law as well, because he was diagnosed with cancer. So my mom became a 24/7 caregiver for 2 cancer patients. And what I didn't realize is what resources were available. I saw this take a huge toll on my mom. She was absolutely exhausted. She was overwhelmed. A lot of our conversations involved tears and frustration and concern about how she could push through this. The reason I'm telling you that is I didn't know how to help her. Other than sit on the phone and talk with her and talk her off the ledge many times, I didn't know what to do. So years later, I end up in this industry. And I learn, oh my gosh, I could have hired somebody to come in, even if it was just 4 hours a day, to help my mom, even if it was just so she could have a change of scenery. But you know what? I didn't know what I didn't know. So I have become super passionate about educating families on the resources that are available to them that they may not even know about. So, you know, raising children, I'm sure people, I don't have any children, I have a 4-legged daughter. I'm sure you've heard the term, it takes a village. In my opinion, it takes a village to help everyone age gracefully in the senior years. And guess what? Most of us, we want to stick our head in the sand and pretend like it's not happening to us, and we're never going to need any assistance. But that's not the fact. So today, I want to share with you part of my village, and if you could introduce yourself, you're going to need the microphone, name, title, and company.
Specialist at St. Anthony's, specifically a social worker with the Memory Disorder Center, and I'll pass it along.
My name is Marci Sadorf. I'm a retired registered nurse and a certified personal trainer with at-home fitness.
Good morning. My name is Chasidy Calantoni. I am with Encompass Health and Rehab Hospital of Largo, and my title is Rehabilitation Liaison.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jim VanArsdale. I'm an account liaison with Chapters Health Hospice. We are the largest not-for-profit hospice in the United States.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Heather Roush. I'm the community liaison with Southern Comfort Home Care. We provide private duty staffing to come out into your home.
Awesome. Thank you all for being here today. So just so you have an understanding, we have two professional panels. This first one is our clinical panel. The second panel is going to be support services. So you know how I said you don't know what you don't know? We've done all the legwork for you. So I'll ask the questions, they will answer them, and at the end, if you still have a question that we did not answer, please visit the booths, the vendor tables, and ask them directly. If for some reason you don't get an opportunity to talk with them directly today, thanks to the committee, they made this flyer that you can take home with you. It has all of the vendors' contact information in there, and you can feel free to reach out to them afterwards. All right, so we're gonna start with Chasidy. So Chasidy, what is Encompass and how is it different than other rehabs?
Encompass Health and Rehab Hospital of Largo. Formerly, you might have heard the name Health South, if that rings a bell to anyone. In Pinellas County, we are located right near Morton Plant Hospital, just south of it. We're a 70-bed inpatient rehab facility that houses patients for a short-term stay to rehab prior to going home.
Okay. And what types of patients do you treat, and do you hold any special certifications?
So as far as the types of patients we treat, from 16 years on up to, I've had patients admit that are 105, if you can believe that. We treat someone that's had a stroke, maybe a spinal cord injury, multiple car trauma, someone that's under dialysis, either at home or going out for dialysis, heart failure, antibiotics, on IV antibiotics, someone that's been sick, a hip fracture, you name it, lots of different medical conditions. And we are proudly hold accreditations with the Joint Commission, which is a really big deal for us that we have to follow and comply with certain standards. So we are Joint Commission for our heart failure program, our stroke program, our amputation program, and our hip fracture program.
Great. And what insurances do you accept?
That's always a really great question, isn't it? The best insurance, of course, is the Medicare programs, but we are lucky and blessed that we do accept all insurances and fight very hard for our patients to get get the patients admitted with any type of insurance. We take United Healthcare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, VA benefits. If there's one that you have questions about, you could see me, we can talk about it.
And what is the process to be admitted?
So as far as being admitted to Encompass, there's always a process. Our patients do have to meet certain criteria because we do offer a higher level of care with a lot of physician oversight, 3 hours of therapy a day. So if you're coming from the hospital, we need a referral from the hospital that you're at to send to our office, and then we write up the paperwork, and then our physicians review and approve. And we do admit from home. We have many patients that are in home health and are admitted right from home that are declining at home, maybe under home health at that time, but just are not progressing like they should be. Or at your doctor's office. We've admitted patients from the doctor's office while they're seeing their physicians, and they just feel that they do need a rehab stay.
Excellent. And I love this one. What happens if I'm in the hospital and they say I do not qualify?
This is my favorite one. This is definitely a barrier, and that's why I love what Mary Ellen is doing in the community today on education. If you do end up in the hospital, make sure you have a voice, your family has a voice, and that you know what your options are when you have to go to rehab and you're sick. Know what's out there, and ask the case manager that's overseeing the case to send the referral to Encompass. And of course, take my business card if any one of us need to help you with that process.
And I want to give a real life example of that, because what happens is if you're in the hospital, not everyone understands what all aspects of navigating this looks like. So for example, you may be in the hospital and the case manager or social worker doesn't realize that you could be appropriate for Encompass. So they will say you don't qualify. Still have them send the referral. Let Encompass come out, do the assessment, and they determine whether or not you qualify. Patient choice.
Patient choice.
That happened to us. We have a client over on the East Coast, and he was in the hospital, and they told him that he did not qualify for Encompass. So he ended up in rehab. When he went in the rehab, he was able to walk. When he came out, he was not able to walk anymore because he laid in bed too long. So his wife, who is a tough New Yorker, which I love, took him out of that rehab, brought him home, and we connected them with Encompass. Encompass came to the home, assessed him, and admitted him. So there are ways to make this happen. All right. What is the average length of stay at Encompass?
So our average length of stay it's patient-centered approach. So each patient case is handled differently, but our patients typically rehab in about 10 days, 7 to 10 days. Some are there a little bit longer depending on the reasons and the diagnosis of the why. And of course, insurance has some say in that. Our return to home rate is about 84-85%. So we are the highest. Our patients, we get them back home at a shorter length of stay versus, I hate to say it, but if they go to skilled nursing, you may be there a little bit longer. And we get them home, our patients home a little bit faster and a heck of a lot stronger, I like to think.
It's true. I mean, if you can compare 1 hour a day of therapy to 3 hours a day, that's a big difference. So if you're laying in bed for 23 hours, that's going to have a toll on your body. What education do you offer for families?
So the education process is extremely important. Even when I'm bringing in patients and I'm speaking to the families, I communicate with them to let them know it is very important that you establish with the case manager, the therapy team, and the physicians of, hey, I'm the wife, I'm the daughter. Because before patients go home, especially if they've been through a lot, our stroke patients, multiple trauma, whatever it might be, a new diagnosis, we want to make sure that families have the tools before the patients go home. Even car transfers, you'll see a lot. I'm walking into the building and the families and the therapist are out working on car transfers with the patients. They do not discharge patients home without that key component of educating the families.
That's huge.
It's huge.
What types of doctors follow patients at Encompass?
We have over 100 physicians that do round by us, so we are a hospital model, so we do look like the hospital without the emergency room and an operating room. So we have cardiac physicians, we have pulmonologists, respiratory therapy, nephrology if someone is on dialysis or kidney issues. We have physicians called PM&R physicians. Those are our physical medicine and rehab physicians that round. We don't have urology at this time or orthopedics, but they can consult. So quite a large team.
Which is unheard of.
I know.
What's the best advice you would give someone regarding knowing your healthcare options?
Oh gosh, the best advice I can give to everyone here, and I even tell this with my parents, I talk about it, know before you go. Know your insurance. Look it up online, see where you can go if you have to go to rehab. Have someone advocating for you and have a plan in place, because my main account is Morton Plant Hospital, so the one thing I see the most is everything is happening in an emergent situation. And then so many people in the community are disappointed and saddened because they cannot get the access to good health care because their insurance plans may have failed them. And I'm sorry, that is true. But if you know your insurance plan, you have a family or a friend involved with your care, they have that contact information, know and have everything written down now. Do it now before the time comes where you're not able to do it and no one else knows what your wants or your needs are. and that's very sad. So the best advice I can give is to know before you go, before it happens.
I love that. Thank you, Chasidy. And that is a big part of what this event is about today. So the next panelist is home health. And so we have about 200 home health companies in the county, but unfortunately, I don't think the marketers work on Saturdays. So I'm gonna fill in for that. So this is not what I do professionally. So what is skilled home health and what does it include? Typically, it's physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and nursing services. They typically come into the home. The orders are prescribed by your primary care physician, and they can be anywhere from 4 to 6, sometimes 8 weeks. What that looks like is they come out 1 or 2 times per week, and the visit is for about 45 minutes. Again, it's physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and also nursing services. If you are in a hospital or a rehab, how do you get those services set up? Typically, the social worker, discharge planner, or case manager will help you get that set up. They normally give you a list of companies to choose from. Again, remember, this is patient choice. If you've ever used a company before and you had a good experience with them, let's say it's XYZ company, you can request XYZ company. Even though they didn't provide you XYZ company, you can request that. It is patient choice. What if I'm not currently or locally being followed by a primary care provider? Someone needs to write the orders. So if you don't have a primary care physician, I would recommend that you get a primary care physician, especially in this season. You want to have somebody that you can go to. The other thought is, if it's too difficult to get your loved one to a doctor's office, there are mobile primary care services, and we can make some recommendations for that. Also, if someone is a veteran, the VA has home health services for veterans. And what are some other resources that home health provides? They have different programs. For example, they have a program for Parkinson's, CHF, COPD, etc. So if you're looking for a specific program, you want to ask the company if they offer that service or that program. The number one thing that's going to be most important to you is, do they take your what? Insurance. Exactly. Okay. I'm taking that home health hat off. That was scary for a minute, but we're back. Okay. Now, you probably hear a lot, home health, home care, what's the difference? We just talked about skilled home health, which is typically covered under Medicare and most insurances. There's another side of home care that is a little bit different. And we've got Heather today to talk about that. So Heather, tell us what private duty home care is.
I'll start by telling you what it's not. So it is not that skilled therapy element that Mary Ellen just mentioned. It is not covered by your insurance plan. It is, however, a situation that you can set up to help support your loved ones or family members staying safe at home. Private duty home care can help out with any activities of your daily life that you maybe need some additional support accomplishing. So that can be things like personal care, bathing, toileting, ambulation, getting from point A to point B. Can also be household care, so light housekeeping, meal preparation, grocery shopping, transportation, and can also be just things that add value to your life or your loved one's life. So painting your nails, doing a puzzle, being a companion, going to Target, any of those sorts of things.
And that additional engagement is really important, especially those that are in their home alone. So if insurance doesn't pay for it, how do I pay for it?
Yeah, great question. It is an out-of-pocket expense, meaning that it would have to come from either your bank account or your long-term care insurance policy. We do accept debit cards, credit cards, and electronic check for payment. and don't require payment up front. Just we bill weekly as services are provided.
Give us an example of the type of person your services would be a great fit for.
Absolutely. So there's a couple of people that come to mind. Number one, it's someone who wants to stay where they're at physically, whether that's in their home environment, in their level of care at an assisted living facility, but just needs a little extra support in doing so. Another example would be Mary Ellen's mom in the story that she told at the beginning. Someone who's the primary caregiver for a loved one who's simply getting to the point of burnout, feeling a little bit overwhelmed at being that primary caregiver. We can come in and provide a little bit of respite through a one-to-one caregiver so that that person, that loved one family member, can go out and do what they love to do with the peace of mind that their loved one is still being cared for.
And I think my mom would have appreciated just being able to go to the grocery store without worrying, right?
Absolutely.
I feel strange having someone in my home. How do I know that they are trustworthy?
Yeah, I would feel similarly. I think that, like Mary Ellen mentioned, it takes a village, but it's important to find a village of trustworthy people that you're relying on. So for our company, we background check all of our caregivers to a level 2. We fingerprint them, and we also employ them directly. So we ensure that as much as possible, that is a trustworthy person coming out into your home. We are licensed, bonded, and insured, so it just carries that protection for you and your loved ones. For our company specifically, we have about 300 caregivers on staff, so personality fit is important to us as well. We want that person who's coming out to feel like an extension of family, like someone that you trust and get along with and can build a good rapport with.
This day and age, you hear a lot of people saying, well, I have a friend of a friend that can come help take care of your loved one. Be very cautious of that. If they have not had some form of background check done, you don't know what's going on in their life, and it's very easy. And I'm not saying that there couldn't be a mistake hiring somebody, but there is a full FBI fingerprint check done. They have a lot of screening done on the front end, but just be very cautious of hiring a friend of a friend or a neighbor or what have you. That can really set your loved one up for concern. I don't think I need a lot of help. Can I schedule just a few hours a week?
Yeah, the way that we operate is with a minimum of 6 hours total within the week, which means that you can just supplement the primary care for your loved one with maybe 3 2-hour shifts or 2 3-hour shifts, or one half day that you know you'd like to go out, get your hair done, grocery shop, while your person that you're providing the primary care for is safe and taken care of.
Okay, how about, what if you send out a caregiver that I don't particularly care for? We just don't mesh.
So when I'm setting up care with families, I tell them that the only feedback we don't want is the feedback that you don't give. We want to know if something is working out, if that caregiver is the exact right fit. We celebrate in that moment. We love that. On the flip side, they might not be your cup of tea. I like to joke and say that some people like coffee, right? So if they're not your cup of tea, we just want to know that so that we can try option B, C, D, etc. I mentioned we've got 300 plus caregivers on staff. So we want to work with you and your loved one to figure out what is a good personality fit.
And are they relegated to the home, or can a caregiver take them to museums, events, lunch, doctor appointments?
All of the above. So they can be that standby companion for whatever it is that your loved one enjoys doing. If you know that your dad loves to go to museums and it's just not your favorite thing, maybe that's a good chance for a caregiver to come be that companion in the museum experience. You use that as a chance to go through Publix in a breeze and not worry.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather, and thanks for all you guys do.
Thanks, Mary Ellen.
Okay, Marci is up. Marci is with At Home Fitness. I feel like I can guess what At Home Fitness is. Fitness at home? Okay, talk to us about who is a good client for you. What does this look like?
At Home Fitness specializes in the seniors and helping keeping them independent and safe in their home. So we're actually, certified personal trainer. I'm also a registered nurse that actually comes into the home and helping get the safety awareness in your own home with balance exercises, lower body strengthening, and upper body strengthening.
So can your services be complemented, like with home health, if we have the physical therapy and occupational therapy coming in, say 2 times a week, could you come in different days of the week to supplement that?
Absolutely. So we actually can become part of the healthcare team in getting your loved ones stronger. We could also act independently. So if you currently would have for your loved one maybe home health care, physical therapy coming in, and nursing coming in, and speech therapy, we would come alongside of them on the alternate days to help augment that program. And taking the home exercise program from the physical therapist and actually kind of augmenting and helping with those balance challenges, making sure that it's safe in certain places in the home. If the dogs are always sleeping in the walkway, how can we make it safe to maneuver around, changing some things like that. So we're going to work with your physical therapy team just on alternating days.
I love that. And Marci, how is it paid for?
You take everything that your insurance is going to give you, and so it's coming alongside of seeing what your insurance pays, but then this is a complimentary, we always do a complimentary assessment to see if we're able to work together with you. It is private pay services, and that's why we offer that complimentary assessment to see if it meets within the guidelines of what a personal trainer can do. It roughly runs between $85 to $100 for 45 minutes to an hour for that one-on-one training in the home. And it's usually about 2 to maybe 3 times a week with worked in rest periods, working on upper body strengthening, lower body strengthening, all tied with the core strengthening, because we want to make sure that if this core is strong, you're not going to be falling as much, or your loved one, we are not wanting anybody to fall. So it's making sure that we continue to work on the core strengthening to increase this strength and endurance.
So what happens if somebody calls you and they want you to come out and do an assessment? You go to the home and you do an assessment and you recognize, wait a minute, they would qualify for physical therapy or occupational therapy through home health, and it would be covered by Medicare. How would you handle that?
It would be following up with the physician's office. Everything that the personal trainer does in the home still has physician orders with it. We have physician clearance. And we would notify that physician that we see the need, that they're in need of physical therapy, occupational therapy, and asking that physician if they would recommend, or if the family already has a recommendation on what home health service they would use, and then getting that order for the physician to put in some home health therapy and be able to start with that and then augment with them.
So she's going to make sure that whatever Medicare covers, you can get the best bang for the buck. They will take care of that, and then she can supplement in between there.
Correct.
I had another thought. Oh, didn't you recognize, so Marci is a nurse, and didn't you recognize recently that a client you were working with needed speech therapy?
So yes, I had one lady, actually she had been at Health South at Encompass, and she had progressed very well there. She came home with home health care, sailed through the little bit of physical therapy, and she actually was doing very, very good. But it was just kind of, she lived in a multi-generational home, and she's in her mid-70s, and it was just kind of just fitting in with the family with quick answers of yes and no, but nobody really digging deeper. Is mom really all there? And she, as the home health kind of transitioned out, I transitioned in, and I noticed it's like, everything's not, she's not always answering appropriately, and she's just staying under the radar. So I started including a little more cognitive challenges with her, and I finally approached the family and I said, I'm not sure if you're aware that we have some cognitive deficits here. Let's just see if we could follow up with the physician and maybe have some speech therapy. So we were able to get some speech therapy help. But in my work with her, I was continually doing cognitive challenges for her as we did all of our workouts twice a week. And to able to watch her over these last few months progress to where her cognition has shown so much improvement, and she's able to actually incorporate her family taking her to some silver sneakers classes in addition to the training that I give her twice a week, to where she feels socially that she's able to carry on a conversation and go be a lot more social with people in silver sneakers along, because we identified the needs and brought help in immediately.
I love that. So we get a nurse and fitness all in one.
All together.
Once a nurse, always a nurse, right?
Yes.
And so one of the things, too, that I love that you mentioned that you do is you prepare people. So this isn't necessarily somebody that's struggling with something particular. It could be somebody that's like, hey, we want to go to Europe. We want to go on a vacation, and I want to be prepared for this. Talk to us about that, how you prepare them.
So yes, it's making sure that really doing so much of this core balance training, and also increasing that endurance. So I have one client that was looking forward to going and doing a cruise around Italy, and she goes, oh, by the way, we're also going to be doing a lot of walking. Well, she could barely walk, I would say, a quarter of a mile maybe. It was basically walking through Publix, holding on for dear life. And I was like, we had quite a few months to prepare, and so it was really starting with, as she had that goal to be successful in this, it was a challenge to say, let's really take this to another level. So we worked a lot more on some strengthening exercises with her quads, with her glutes, her core, increasing that endurance gradually, having rest periods in between, but also letting her kind of increase gradually. So it was to where we were able to get her. She's going on her cruise in another 6 weeks. She's up to walking 4 miles a day.
Wow.
And she has progressed so well. Her strength has improved so much. And she is actually excited now of not just sitting on the ship, of able now to walk around the areas. So the confidence that has come with that has been tremendous.
That is incredible. I might need you. Okay, side note. How about like pre-operation? Is that another potential if somebody knows that they have surgery coming up?
Yes, and this covers any age category. Yes, the specialty is seniors, but I did have a young lady in her early 50s that had torn her Achilles tendon. And she was putting off the surgery, and she put the surgery off a year. And actually during that time just became more lethargic and not doing as much. And finally the date was picked to have her surgery within an 8-week period, and she decided to panic because the procrastination caught up with her. And to see that she would be non-weight bearing for some time after that. And so it was as she invited me to come to her home and say, what do I do? And to say, let's work on that core and getting the balance and starting to work on that core training, balance challenges, abdominal exercises, really starting to work her into a safer situation. And so by the time that surgery came, her core was stronger to where she was able to maintain that weight bearing. And then she was able to complete the non-weight bearing time and be stronger. And the confidence that has come with that has been tremendous. So pre-op, anything getting ready for that, or if you notice weaknesses, maybe with your loved ones, you just notice that they're having trouble getting out of the dining room chair. Things like that. It's like, mom's just not quite as strong as she used to be before. That's the time to say we need to change things up a little bit and have me come in and do an assessment and say, okay, let's get the doctor's order. Are we aware of things? And then start to do some exercises to get things stronger.
And I feel like we chalk that up to, I'm just getting older. So one of the things that Marci mentioned was she helps people prepare to get off the floor. And I chuckled because I'm like, I need that. I'm only 54. But I feel like I'm 80-something trying to get off the floor sometimes. So having, I think, an exercise program, a routine that you can set up and help them start.
Absolutely.
And make sure they have the proper form for doing those
exercises.
Yes,
so it's working with them as far as getting some of that, working with that agility. And I even challenge at any age we're going through, instead of having that fear of getting on the floor, it's like get down, kneel down, and then working on getting up. So it's working with the clients. Yes, we can call 911, and there's the times that we need to call 911, but sometimes it's getting down on the floor and knowing, how do I get back up? So it's working at any age and saying, let's start to work on making sure our quads are strong enough. What are the proper steps we need to go through to make sure we're strong enough to where, as we age, I had a 96-year-old client that working with her, had her down on the yoga mat, we were working on things, and then turning around, and she's able to stand up on her own.
Wow.
So it's exciting to watch the progress.
That's incredible. We recently were working with a family that their loved one had gone to a skilled nursing facility for rehab. They did not have a good experience in terms of care. So when they reached out to us, the client was in the hospital again, and they were about to go to rehab, and I said, you don't want them to go to rehab? And the family was like, no, we had a really bad experience because of the care there. We want to bring her home. We will provide the care, but we need therapy in the home. So we were able to get them connected with, obviously, home health for the physical therapy and occupational therapy, but then augment that with exercise, an exercise program that followed that. So literally it ends up being 5 days a week they're getting therapy consistently. That's an out-of-the-box one. I'm not recommending that, but I'm just saying there are ways that we can figure out different solutions for what your intended target is and your intended goal. Thank you, Marci.
Right. Thank you.
I'll be calling Marci to help me get off the floor. Okay, Michelle, you're up next. So Michelle is with the Memory Disorders Center. How many of you know that there's a Memory Disorders Center? Okay, that's pretty good. So Michelle, what is the Memory Disorders Center?
Thank you for asking. The Memory Disorder Center is a free community resource. We pride ourselves on offering free memory screenings. We all have this beautiful thing called human nature, and we all have peak brain performance at 40. After that, we all have a gradual, steady decline. So if we can reach out to the community and say, hey, have a free screening, see where your baseline is, see where you lie on that score. It might be something as simple as a vitamin deficiency. We also offer navigation, so maybe there is a question, we can get you to a neurologist or maybe neuropsychology. So we also offer consultations. We visit with families. We offer support groups. We offer caregiver retreats, specifically for loved ones caring for a family member.
They are such an incredible resource. If you've not used them, definitely reach out. So I was actually talking with somebody in the audience, and they were talking about maybe a stubborn family member that they were caring for and watching after, and there were some behaviors and frustration. And just imagine, as we get older, we begin to lose our vision. Yes, I have to use readers. We begin to lose our vision, our hearing. Next thing you know, our ambulation is a little bit tainted. Our gait isn't as great as it used to be. We start to lose so much of our independence. I am not going to age well. I'm just putting it out there now. I'm hyper independent, so I'm not going to age well. So just try to put yourself in their shoes. It's a struggle that they lose all of their independence. So having resources that can help guide you through this process is really important, especially if there's a memory concern. This group is so good. They sit down one-on-one with you. They give you resources. And if you're a primary caregiver, they also have retreats. So we're going to talk some about that. Can you tell us about one of your retreats that's coming up?
Yeah, so annually we offer a weekend retreat. This year it's the October 11th, 12th, and 13th. It's by way of an application process, but what we do is we offer meditation, we offer educational breakout sessions like elder law or maybe physical therapy, home health care, but then we also offer a space to just connect to being, giving up that duty of caregiving 24 hours a day for a loved one. When we offer that ability for people, they really get a refreshed perspective. They get to shift their narrative with this new education, this new sense of self. So when they show back up to really loving their caregiver and their loved one, things change, and we see that evolution. That compassionate care really comes through.
And I think sometimes caregivers need that extra grace and that extra encouragement that you're doing a great job, because no one really can fully understand how you're being asked the same question 17 times in 23 minutes, and you get frustrated. I answered that for you. Could we put it on a whiteboard? You try all these different things, and so having this resource is incredible. Tell us about the memory screenings that you offer. Like, what does that look like?
Sure, so it's an extremely easy process. It takes about 15 minutes. But what we're doing is we're teasing out all 8 parts of the brain. So we're really trying to look for things that might specifically stick out to us. It is a visuospatial component, meaning that you would write some things down. There's a little bit of delayed memory, so we might ask you to remember 5 questions or 5 words and then repeat them back to us maybe at the end. And so there's a little bit of drawing, a little bit of visual, and a little bit of recall memory.
And are those screenings, is that covered by insurance? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a great question. One of the beautiful aspects of the Memory Disorder Center is that we are free service.
Could you say that again?
Right, exactly. Like, nothing's free anymore. Exactly. So yes, we have lots of fundraising events that we like to do throughout the year. And then our Women in Philanthropy at St. Anthony's also is a big donor for us.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Ooh. So is there an age limit? Do you have to be a certain age? Over 55?
No.
Dang it. I have no more excuses.
Yeah, so any age. Memory problems can be something as simple as stress. And I'd like to see if anyone here is stress-free. Please raise your hand. Yeah. So, it's a normal part of life, and sometimes that can affect our memory too. So we might think something's going on, and maybe we just have a lot of stressors.
Amen to that. Okay, your support groups, how often do you have them? Where are they?
So we offer them the first through the fourth Thursday. So the first, second, third, and fourth Thursdays of the month, and that's at the Memory Disorder Center. Myself and my colleagues all rotate those facilitations, so you'll get to learn a little bit depending on the facilitator that day, which I think is really beautiful.
That is cool. Tell us where your center is located.
Yeah, so we're at 1201 Fifth Avenue North, and that's here in St. Pete. We're in the professional office building, so it's right on the front of St. Anthony's campus off Fifth Avenue. We're on the third floor, and it's Suite 301.
You said that so smoothly. What's the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia?
Yeah, that's a lovely question. So I like to look at dementia as kind of this blanket term. We hear, oh, someone has dementia. Well, Alzheimer's is actually a form of dementia. And with all of the technology we have, all the advancements, we now know in 2024 that there are 129 dementias. And Alzheimer's is just one of them. So they all present very differently. They all affect different parts of the brain and also the body. So it's really important to have an early diagnosis, be able to get in with a neurologist and neuropsychologist so that we can gather data in order to know what type of potential cognitive impairment or dementia you might be occurring, or a loved one or a family member.
And how do I know if it's natural age-related forgetfulness, or actually something I should be concerned about?
Yeah, great. So I think the best thing is to say, come in and get a screening. When we meet one-on-one, we're really looking at an individual, authentic approach. Everyone here in this room is different. And so it's really important that we understand, what does the day-to-day look like in your life? Is it something that's age-related based on that screening we might do? Or is there something more? And then we'll be able to kind of navigate into the community and care teams.
Terrific.
Yeah.
And something I think that we can all benefit from. How can we optimize our brain wellness?
So this is my favorite. If there's a stoat box, I would go ahead and jump on it right now. So brain wellness is major. There are strategies that we can all follow that can help reduce our risk of developing dementia by 40%. I think those numbers are pretty staggering. So if you're interested in a full comprised list, I have them on the table in the back. But I'd like to mention a few. So when we're looking at optimization of brain wellness, we want to consider how we show up in our lives. Why are we doing what we're doing? Why do we eat what we eat? Do we exercise? So one of the first strategies is managing our underlying medical conditions. That could look like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, sleep apnea, obesity, and depression. Those are some of the precursors for dementia. So making sure that we manage those, that we take our medications, and that we're kind of keeping things in check. Second to that, I mentioned exercise. And so we order sweat 150 minutes a week.
Say that again.
Sweat.
And do hot flashes count? Because I'm in. I've already done mine.
Yes, exactly. And not walking out in the Florida humidity, that doesn't count either.
So you have to sweat 150 minutes. How often? A week.
150 minutes. What this does is it flushes the cardiovascular system. And so when the cardiovascular system is starting to rotate, we flush the blood out of the brain, it flushes through the entire system, and we're able to continuously oxygenate the brain.
Wow.
Yes. Additionally, I'd like to talk a little bit about the food consumption. That's one of the big ones. So thinking about food, it's not the same as it was when my grandmother was growing up, or even my mother. or even 10 years ago. So we all have heard of, GMOs and eat organic, and there's lots of things, right? I think intelligent consumption is really important because as long as it's not packaged or processed, does it come in a box? Does it come in a bag? Something's happened to that. So try to, support your local farmer's market. We have Saturday morning market here with some great fruits and veggies. And think about a Mediterranean style diet or the MIND diet. Those seem to be, research shows, to decrease your propensity for developing dementia.
Say that again. It's the MIND diet?
MIND, M-I-N-D.
And what does that stand for?
I don't know.
But is it like an anti-inflammatory?
It is. It's very similar to Mediterranean. So no red meats, and decreasing a lot of animal products in general.
Okay. We can Google that.
Yes.
The MIND diet.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Michelle. Thank you for that added bonus there at the end.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I guess I'm going to have to call Marci sooner than I thought. Last but not least, we have Jim. And Jim represents Chapters Health, which is hospice. So, although Chapters is new to Pinellas County, how long has Chapters been in business and in what areas are covered?
So Chapters Health Hospice has been in business for 41 years, okay? We're based out of Tampa, Florida, North Tampa area. And if you're from the Hillsborough area, you might know us as Life Path. If you're from the Pasco area, you might know us as HPH. Chapters is just the umbrella name as the overlying name of all the affiliates underneath. And actually, Chapters is the largest not-for-profit in the United States, and we stretch all the way to the Washington, D.C. market. So of course, we cover all of Pinellas County and the surrounding counties in the area. We're the largest not-for-profit stretching all the way to Washington, D.C.
Awesome.
Yes.
I love that you guys are here.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and thank you, and thanks for everyone for showing up.
Tell us about the services that Chapters offers.
Well, of course, first and foremost, we provide hospice, right? That's why we're here. I know hospice doesn't seem like something people want to talk about, but it's something you have to prepare yourself for. And I'll give you a little example, a little story. It was about 15 years ago, my dad passed away. I'm originally from up north. All right, so I lived about an hour and a half away from where my dad was. My mom, he had cancer, and he was going to do his services. Fortunate enough, I worked for an organization that allowed me to have every Friday off to go with him to his treatments, okay? And I'm grateful for that because that's the time I was able to spend with my dad, As he progressed and got worse, we were never offered hospice. I knew what hospice was, but I didn't know what the extent of hospice was. So I would be called early in the morning, late at night. My mom would say, "Can you come pick up your dad? He's got to go to the hospital." And at that point, he's so medicated, he doesn't know me, he doesn't know what's going on. What is the moral of this story? Hospice, regardless of who you choose, provides services that allows you to help your family member with not only equipment, medication, support both emotionally, spiritually, however you want to call it. But I didn't really have that time with my dad other than I was constantly working. In order to have those services and the people help my dad would allowed me to have more personal time with my dad, which would have been more beneficial. So I'm not angry that I had to do what I had to do because I was able to help my dad, right? And I can look back and I'm at peace with that. But to have the services that hospice provides allows you more personal time with your family member when they're going through those difficult times, okay? Besides that, being that we're a not-for-profit, the opportunities are endless. And one of the biggest services that I'm proud of is, because I'm a veteran, is our Valor program. Our Valor program is a program that helps first responders and veterans. What are some of those services? We do pinning ceremonies when somebody's at a facility. We do honor walks. We do Valor cafes. And what those services are is we try to help get information in front of veterans or family members, because if you're a veteran or if you're a family member of a veteran, it's difficult to navigate the VA system, right? I'm a veteran, I know this. So we're able to provide services to these people when these services are needed. So the services are unmatched and go a long way, and that's what we do at Chapters Health Hospice.
I love it. And so most people know hospice as end of life. Is hospice considered end of life?
Of course, hospice is definitely considered end of life. But, you know, you fast forward to the time we're at with the advancement of medication and medical equipment, we see these symptoms last for days, weeks, months, even years. And within that, we actually see people graduate off hospice. So although it's considered end of life, there is some positive outcomes that come out of hospice.
And I think that's really important for all of us to absorb, right? Because whenever someone mentions the H word, hospice, you know, you're automatically like, no, I don't want to go there. But they offer so many services, and it doesn't necessarily mean this is the end of life. It doesn't. There could be improvement. And then, as he said, you graduate off, you could later be admitted on and off, on and off. Will Chapters do a free consultation to see if a loved one qualifies for service?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, we do these consultations over the phone, over the internet, in person. I've just done a couple this week. You know, it's people, like Mary Ellen said, it's the hospices, they hear that H word, and they don't want to know. But they don't know until what they know. And we help educate them on those services. And, you know, there's a lot of things that we can do to help them. And of course, we always love to have a loved one present because we want to help prepare them for what to expect. That's very important.
Oh, that is. So I have a personal experience with hospice years ago from Maryland, and the hospice nurse was one of the most incredible humans, which I think anyone that works for hospice, you have to be a very special person. And she actually really prepared the family. And the interesting thing is we couldn't figure out, like, he was just hanging on and hanging on and hanging on. And she asked the family, is there something that he's holding on to? And they were like, well, there's a settlement that's supposed to happen between him and his siblings, and it hasn't happened yet. And once it did, and we told him that it was resolved and his bride was going to be okay, he let go. So, such a beautiful experience with hospice. So let's say, when considered end of life, does hospice come to your home, or if you're in assisted living, or wherever, do they come to wherever you reside?
Wherever you call home, we will be there. And since we're a not-for-profit, you could be homeless living under a bridge, and we will come to you, and we have, okay? It could be your house, it could be your apartment, it could be an assisted living facility, it could be the hospital. Wherever you call home, we will be there to do this.
I love that, under the bridge, wow, that's good. Do you have a hospice house? And if so, where are they located?
As with any hospice house, the model is it's a model of continuous care, right? Okay, with that being said, in Pinellas County, we do not have a hospice house present, but we do offer that model of continuous care. So in the surrounding counties, we have 8 facilities around the Tampa area, as we mentioned. The closest one to here, if you're in Pasco, it's right up in the Newport Richey area, across the bridge from the Gandy and all throughout the Tampa and the South Tampa area. But as some people are aware, you want to take care of your loved one at home. So, like as mentioned in an earlier question, we can bring the services to you. It's just if there is a need, we do have a hospice house that we can get you to.
Perfect. How about equipment? Do you guys provide equipment like a hospital bed?
Of course. During the initial admission, right, we have an admission nurse that comes to you wherever you're at. It could be a hospital, it could be your home or facility. They want to see if they qualify for hospice. And at the time of qualification, we review the records, the medical records, to see what medications are needed in equipment. And it could be a commode, it could be a bed, it could be a chair, whatever you need. And we get that order in immediately so we can have that product at your place of residency in a timely manner. Usually we can do it within the same day because all these products are here locally.
Wow. That's saying a lot. What bereavement services are offered to families and surviving children, and is there a cost?
So of course we provide those services, the bereavement services. There is no cost, right? We're not for profit, okay? I mean, children, it's very difficult for me to even swallow the thought of hospice for children, but you know, it's there. But regarding the bereavement services for surviving children, we do camps for children, spring camps throughout the area, and these are, you know, a tremendous thing for kids to have because that's a very, very difficult thing for them to go through.
I actually had the pleasure of hearing somebody speak about a child that went through the bereavement camp, and they were drawing, and whatever they drew was very telling of what they were working through. So I love that that was available to them.
Most definitely.
Is hospice only for the elderly?
Of course not. I mean, hospice is for any age, and we have a phenomenal, you know, pediatric division as well for hospice.
Okay. If you choose hospice, does that mean that you have to give up all medical treatment?
Of course not. You know, hospice is here to treat the disease and the symptoms, right? At the same time, you still have your primary care or whatever specialty physician you're going to. We don't want you to give that up. We're going to bring the services to you to treat while you're in hospice. But at the same time, you need to still follow up with your primary care or whatever physician you're currently actively seeing for any other condition you may have.
Terrific. Jim, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
Yep, thanks for having me.
And if we could we give all the panelists a round of applause? So I'm going to let all of the panelists go to their respective tables, but I'm going to ask Marci to stay. And could you give us a little bit of exercise so that we can get the blood flowing again? And then we can all visit the tables. The restrooms are out this hallway. There are 2 rooms that have refreshments and coffee. And I hear that the men's room is in the stairwell. I don't know.
All right, let's start to get the circulation going again. So I want you to scoot a little bit forward in your chair where you're sitting. And I want you to take your belly button and pull it toward your backbone. And first of all, we're going to squeeze the muscles that we've been sitting on and wake those up. So we're going to do 5 of those. We're going to just hold it tight. 2, 3, 4, 5. Next one we're going to do, feet solidly on the floor. We're going to push down on both feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Were you all still holding your belly button to your backbone? Oh, come on. All right, the next one we're going to do is we're going to put our one arm up over the head, and I want you to stretch from your waist up. This isn't to make your arm longer. This is to help extend all of the body. So we're going to lift up with one arm, belly button still to the backbone. All right, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Belly button still on the backbone? All right, next one we're going to do our shoulder rolls. We're going to do one shoulder at a time. We're going to pull it forward, up, and to the back. The other one, forward, up, and to the back. That was number 1. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now as we stand up, holding our belly button, holding our tummies in, we're going to stand up, push through those feet that you woke up. We're going to take our hands, put them behind our back, grasp your hands together, like this. And I want you to just pull up a little bit. And we're going to do 5 of those. Thank you all so much. Remember to keep that tummy core tight.
Thank you, Marci. And also, please visit the vendor tables. You'll see on the slide, it's 1 through 12. Table 1 starts here to 4. The rest are in the back and then over here. All right. We'll be back on at 10:45.